Don't greet every single person and hear their stories and learn their struggles. And that was always touching to me, that they would put their faith in me or in any of us.
Yeah.
But we've been in such a rush because we have to get off to the next event, so we haven't been able to stop and do that. And I want you to know out there, I haven't forgot about you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Polyev. It is time now for closing statements, and prior to the debate, you drew lots as to which order we would go in. And Mr. Singh, you get the first word on a closing statement.
Certainly, thank you. Because you voted for New Democrats, we were able to fight to bring in dental care, family care, and child care.
I'm here to say it doesn't have to be this way. With change, we can restore the Canadian promise so that hard work gets you a beautiful house on a safe street under a proud flag. We can do it with hope for change.
Gentlemen, thank you for a very spirited debate tonight. 2 quick points before we go. Number one of you celebrated your 60th birthday yesterday on this stage. Yves-François Blanchet, bon anniversaire.
Merci beaucoup.
Secondly, you'll notice we didn't have to change the time of this debate because the Leafs already clinched the Atlantic Division title, and therefore we didn't need to move the debate to accommodate a hockey game. Thank you, leaders, for being here tonight. We are just 11 days from Election Day, April 28th, but there are many ways that you can cast your ballot starting tomorrow at advance polls. If you intend to vote by mail, that deadline is April 22nd. Make sure to check your voter card for details or contact Elections Canada. This is your democratic right, and we hope you use it.
Thank you. Enjoy that.
Okay. I really like Steve Paikin.
The English language debate of this 45th general election in.
I'm just going to mute it for a little bit. I thought it was another solid. Oh God, this guy, Michael Serapio. I'm just waiting for the press conference to start because yesterday's questions from the alternative media was, a thing of beauty. It was so good. So we've watched the debate. The debate is what you expect. The questions from the presser yesterday were things we didn't expect. So I'm looking forward. I'm just standing by for when they go to that, and then I'm going to play that. I really like, again, Steve Paikin as a broadcaster. He's a great host. So I'm really glad they chose him. Okay, now they're going to go, this is the CPAC panel. Yeah, I'm not too interested in watching them. So I'm just going to pause this and wait for the questions.
From a confrontation to security concerns to disorganization from the organizers. So many different words being shared on social media, those that are on the ground,
has
as
been
well
canceled.
as emails to the group here around the table. So we'll get the final answer at some point, maybe not before we're done this evening, but at some point we will have the final answer. But for now, those scrums have been canceled. Now, I guess that's the sad news. We're not going to hear more from the leaders facing the media, but we will dive into what we just heard right now. I'm going to get you to.
Oh, that says a lot. That says a lot. Oh my God, the powers that be are still the powers that be. So whoever, Elections Canada is a government funded thing, and we know who's the current government right now. And if there's something they don't like and they don't want to hear, it's not going to happen. They will shut it down. They'll shut anything down. They're the government. I mean, I'm sitting here recording, ready to go because I want to hear the press questions. Okay, so bad. And they've canceled the press conference. That is such complete cowardice. Because some questions were asked that were unusual questions. And I'll take this opportunity now, in case you miss it, I'm going to play some of the clips from last night because they're definitely worth hearing. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Because what do some people say? A lot of people sometimes say butt hurt. And I would say the CBC was absolutely butt hurt. The way that Rosemary Barton was like, these outlets, these media outlets, she was just like speaking about them like they were full of misinformation when she comes from the CBC and they were nothing but full of misinformation that led you on a path to illness, sickness, and financial ruin. Oh, come on, CBC. This is appalling. This is ridiculous. No press questions? I knew they'd do something. A pension before that.
So for the last 6 years, you have a pension. Before that, you were a provincial MPP. In other words, most of your career happened at taxpayers' expense, and yet you chose to boycott the Conservatives and other medias that lead a little bit more to the right, like ours, and you supported Justin Trudeau's project to censor the internet, even though you're paid by Canadians. So why do you think that this is ethically acceptable to marginalize Conservatives and to refuse to treat them with respect? I will not answer questions from Rebel News because it is an organization that promotes disinformation, so I will not answer your question. But I will take the time to say that for me, what is most important in this election, fight for what you...
Sorry, that is just unreal that he would say that. He just completely embarrassed himself. You cannot dismiss a whole news organization. They're an upstart grassroots news organization. They're self-funded. You may not agree with their politics, but it doesn't mean they spread misinformation. They actually get the facts right. And for him to stand up there and say, I will not answer questions, that's so bad. So embarrassing. That is just, he's just looks like a fool for doing that. I just can't believe that.
Like healthcare,
dental care, blah, blah, blah. Drea Humphrey asked a great question. Here it is.
Mr. Singh, Drea Humphrey with Rebel News. Your party takes great pride in standing against hate, such as white supremacy, Islamophobia, and
Sorry, I didn't get your outlet.
Drea Humphrey with Rebel News.
Okay.
Your party...
You know I'm going to go with this, all right?
Can I speak?
Yeah, you can. I'm just going to say, you know I'm going to go with it, though.
Your party takes pride in standing against hate, such as white supremacy, Islamophobia, and online hate speech. Yet you stay silent about ongoing attacks against Christians, even after conservative MP Jamil Javani's order paper question revealed that over 200 churches have been targeted by arson and vandalism since claims of remains being discovered at former residential schools swept the nation in 2021. These claims have been disproven by bands that excavated and remain unproven by those that have not. Will you condemn the rise in acts of hate against Christians today and explain what your party will do moving forward to keep Christians safe from hate in Canada?
Again, thank you, but I'm not going to respond to an organization that promotes misinformation and disinformation like Rebel News. So no, I'm not going to respond to your question.
What a
Please
cop
keep the
out.
questions and answers short.
You shouldn't be running for politics. You cannot be professional enough to answer that question. Terrible.
OPEC conflict oil being imported through an aging pipeline. Why do you prefer OPEC conflict oil over Alberta ethical oil?
I seem to believe that you already have the answer you want to write. So your question seems to contain the answer. I believe I am the one who authorized the change of direction in Enbridge Line B in 2013, which seems to prove that I'm not a fanatic against oil. But I believe that we've got...
But at least he's answering the question.
No. And any referee who sees his name in the paper the day after the game knows that that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
So definitely I'm going for the opposite of that, which is people don't even know I'm there because I've done a professional job, because they've all been able to say what they need to say. They've all had to answer the questions.
Yeah, he's great.
They've
He's a
all done it
professional.
in a relatively civilized fashion so that all four of them are not shouting at each other all at once. And people can actually glean something from the experience.
So we just had a gander at that, 2 hours. What did you think?
I would say, again, like yesterday, a very substantive debate. I think if Canadians were tuning in, and I hope they were, to try and get a
This is
sense
the
of
only
where
commentary we're
leaders
allowed to
stand on
hear.
key issues,
CBC.
Energy development, taking on Donald Trump,
Oh my God.
crime, they got really clear answers from those leaders tonight. But again tonight, and perhaps in a more pronounced way tonight, Mark Carney was the central target. Even when it was up to the leaders to ask questions,
Rosemary.
they all asked him a question. He even joked that he was going to ask himself a question. That's how focused everyone was on him. And even though the questions were sometimes challenging around tax,
We're still carrying water for him. And the way you talked about the other alternative media outlets last night was so just appalling. That shows that you cannot share the space, that you are threatened by the space. And I don't know why you think so badly that they're reporting misinformation. It's ridiculous. You obviously have not looked inside yourself. Okay, I don't know if I'm crazy or if it's just me. I went back to look at the CPAC French debate to find all the bits at the end with the Rebel News gang asking the questions and Keenan Bexty, and I couldn't find it. Like, I don't know if they scrubbed it away or if it's just me. I mean, it is very possibly it's just me. I'm going to play a little bit of Moose on the Loose.
Oh, please, you guys can't call yourself media. Get off the news.
Oh my God, she looks like the Ed Asner character in Up, in the movie Up. Anyway,
Particular outlet. Any idea what's going on there?
There's three right wing, very right wing media. We can call them media websites that are present
Oh, please, you guys can't call yourself media.
That's
Get
right.
off the news.
in there. They get in line to ask a question like
Yeah.
anybody else. Their accreditation has been approved by the Commission
Yeah.
of Debates.
Yeah.
And so they get the right to stand in line and ask a question that they choose to ask.
in case you missed it from last night, reporter Keenan Bexty from Juno News asked Mark Carney a question. And I don't know if it blindsided him or what, but have a listen.
Mr. Carney, Kean Bexty, Juno News. In your estimation, was Justin Trudeau a good prime minister?
Yeah, Justin Trudeau and the previous administration made a number of contributions to this country. I suspect since I have 10 minutes, I think, right, for the responses, I'm not going to enumerate them all. I'll make one point which I think is relevant on the way looking forward, which is as I said the other night in an interview, he and I, we share the same values in terms of solidarity, taking care of one another. The emphasis on reconciliation, emphasis on equality of all Canadians, and building a better country for everyone else. The difference, one of the differences, there are many, but one of the differences between the two of us goes to the question I was just asked, which is I put much more emphasis on the economy, on growing the economy. In fact, in this circumstance that we're in, given the scale of the crisis and what needs to be done, I would say a relentless focus on growing the economy to work for all Canadians.
So as you can obviously see, there are no security concerns. It's not. They are asking the questions very professionally, very different from what David Aiken, my former colleague, used to do to Pierre Poilievre. You've seen him be very aggressive and unhinged. Nobody was aggressive and unhinged. They just don't like this line of questioning, the NDP and the Liberals. Pierre would have taken the questions, and I'm sure even Blanchette would have too. And on X right now, they're saying one of the headlines is Debate Commission cancels leaders' scrums over security concerns. The Leaders Debate Commission has abruptly canceled the scheduled post-debate media scrums with party leaders, citing security concerns. This decision was communicated to the campaign and reporters, but no detailed explanation has been provided. The cancellation has sparked reactions among media and political observers questioning the transparency of the process. I mean, these guys just do what they want. They'll cancel what they want. They'll, yes, people do agree, like with yesterday with the Greens being pushed out, that they agree that they weren't really entitled to be there in the first place. And I can get that. But I'm talking about the disorganization of the commission to be like, oh, sorry, last minute, you're out. And then to pull this type of move, somebody just said, you're not doing this. This would have been the best television. This would have been such amazing, transparent, provided such transparency to the Canadian public, whom a lot of which has their head in the sands. So for them to cancel this is just appalling. God, this is me. Judy Trin, the Debates Commission is informing reporters that it's been canceled. I mean, that's that. Yeah, we get the point. It just shows such cowardice, in my opinion. I will give you a little look at what Robert Fife said. And I think all kinds of ruckus has been going on. If you follow Ezra Levant, they went just out of his way to prevent him from coming. And this is how our national broadcaster, CBC, that we all pay taxes for, brings, and Robert Fife, this is how they speak about last night.
I'm going to come to you on this. Here's what's going on here. To my left, there's the room there where the media is gathered. It's where they can watch the debates. This is where the scrums are happening with the leaders. There was some sort of an altercation inside there in the last little while involving Ezra Levant, who is the head of Rebel News, and other journalists. Michel Cormier has escorted Ezra Levant out. His credentials, we believe, has been revoked.
Oh, God.
Earlier in this program, You might have seen sort of some glitchy video playing because we had to go to tape because Mr. Levent and his people came over with cameras rolling and tried to interrupt this broadcast.
Oh,
you know,
please.
which is something journalists do to other journalists, I guess. But Bob, this is kind of what's been going on here. Just your thoughts.
Well,
on
first
what
of
we're
all,
seeing.
look, these are not journalists.
Wow.
These are right-wing agitators, and
And what are you, a
they do
left-wing
is
agitator?
they use these kind of activity stunts and antics to raise money. We've seen these people chase down liberal politicians or NDP politicians.
We've seen people get arrested for just asking normal questions when they walk up to Chrystia Freeland. So give me a break, Fife. I am over you and your nonsense.
Well, I'm kidding around. We don't have common ground. I don't know what is these. Yesterday, I think the independent journalists were a little bit too independent, and the regime journalists are too friendly with the regime. And I've seen a full court press by regime journalists over the last 24 hours to bring in limits to what independent journalists can do.
You mean third-party advertisers, Ezra? Can you talk about the $180,000 you're spending to do advertising, voter contact, both through For Canada and into Rebel News Network Limited?
See, you're wrong on that, and that's what concerns me, is that For Canada is a different group that was registered.
You paid $170,000 to Rebel News Network Limited. Is that not true?
You're getting your facts wrong, Justin, and I want to make sure you're careful.
Say to you?
We were actually talking about the CBC, who want us out of here. The CBC want us kicked out. We're not leaving. The CBC were outraged that Mr. Cormier let us.
Okay, you can watch some of that for yourself. I think some of the independents have to register part of their organization. I don't know, don't quote me on this, as a charity, and then they have to run some of their stuff as a business. I think something like that. I don't know what that reporter was talking about. I don't know. I'm just a little old me sitting in my laundry room. Actually, this is my laundry room, so I stay out of all that. But I admire the work of the independent journalists, no question. Obviously, I do, having come from the dark side. Okay, the debate was the debate. It was a good debate. Jagmeet Singh wouldn't shut up, so they probably should have cut his mic, which is a big no-no. I'm kidding. And boy, I'm really disappointed in not taking the press questions at the end. Somebody is protecting Mr. MC. Okay, thanks for watching this video today. Okay, we'll catch you soon. Bye-bye.